But I know I'm gonna talk my shit and say what I need to say, period. Okay, you funny and all, but like, you a midget. I can't do it.
And that's crazy that people talk to people like that. Can you imagine if a guy said that to a girl? Like, oh, you're cute, you're funny and everything, but you a fat ass, so I can't do it. How is this rudeness accepted as a common behavior that is normalized by females? But if a man says anything remotely tame, he's canceled.
Have you ever been approached by a short guy? And what was the response?
I'll let you talk or whatever. But like, no.
Why do they have to be so disparaging when they say shit like that, bro? I'm all about having preferences. I completely understand. Like, taller guys, yeah, I get it. Just like men like women who are fit. Like, most human beings like humans that look normal sized. How is weight something that is frowned upon when you criticize someone for it or you claim that you have a preference against it, but something that you can't change, it's accepted to berate someone because of something they can't change? Like, it's like telling people, man, I don't do Asian girls because, ugh, like, ugh, what? It's okay to have a preference, but just straight out, just cutting that person's soul in half and being so outwardly rude and proud of your behavior is just wild to me. So this is a YouTuber named Pumas, and I found him through his adopted video. So I looked at his other videos, and he was making a video about how to get girls as a short guy. And I know quite a few guys who have this issue, and I can only imagine how difficult it must be for them in the dating game when women, are now expecting men to be over 6 feet, else they are not attractive. It doesn't matter how toxic they are. If they are under 6 feet, 6 foot, first of all, 5'11", 5'10", I feel like is tall. I'm 5'2", so for me that's tall. But 6 foot is short to them?
How short is too short in a guy?
6 foot.
How tall are you?
5 foot.
How short is too short in a guy?
Like 6'4".
I'm not against someone else's preference, but just because you like men that are 6'4", that doesn't mean you gotta wear the pants that they wear. Like, for real. And even if you're trying to go for the Steve Urkel look, how did you forget the suspenders?
Like, they specify over 6 feet. Anything 6 foot or under is disgusting. I've heard people literally use that word, which is weird. Crazy also, women are the first to cry fetishization. Oh my god, but you're kind of doing that with tall guys as well. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I don't want to have kids, because my husband is average height, but I guess some people he's short. To me, he's not. He's taller than me, but his mom is also 4'11". I'm 5'2". Even though everyone on my mom's side of the family is over 6 feet, my mom is what, 5'5", 5'6". Me being 5'2", him being his height, and his mom being 4'11", I'm like, what if we have a boy? If we have a girl, she's gonna be like a little fairy, and that's great, but that's like a toss-up. You can't ensure. And aside from other situations or other reasons why we don't want kids, that's one of the more superficial reasons I feel like I'm gonna be putting my kid at a disadvantage. And it's unfortunate because he can be the best person ever, and people still won't look at him. Doesn't matter how hot he looks or whatever when he grows up. Girls will look at that and be like, oh, you're cute, but you're short. And the chances of that happening are just too high. And I feel like that wouldn't be me. That would be selfish. I'm like, oh, I just want a kid. And then he's at a disadvantage because of that. No matter what you tell that kid, oh, they'll just love you for you. All you've got to do is just be happy within yourself. The truth is, the world exists, and people don't like to admit that there are realities, and there are stereotypes, and there are certain boxes that you're going to fit in. Things are going to be a little harder for you if you fit in those boxes or in one of those categories. It just is what it is. Just like these people who weigh like 200 pounds or more are feeling bad because people are saying, yeah, the majority of people don't want people that look like that. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person, but when it comes to biology, I love biology, the human mind, the human psyche, you cannot blame humans for being naturally attracted to something. Women want taller guys because they want to feel like they can be protected. It is the ultimate epitome visually of a man that is strong and able to pick her up and carry her away from danger or fight something or see something in the distance rather than someone who's 5 foot. It just is what it is. Just like a woman, if she's 3 foot for some reason, she's going to be okay with a guy who's like 5 foot because he's taller than her. But then again, society and social media has kind of warped that as well, because you can have a guy that's 5'9" and completely, there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. You can have a guy that's 5'5", stand-up guy. Everything is perfect. He looks amazing. The jawline is popping, sharp enough to slice through your ass. And everything is working for him. Money for days, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff women say they want, but he's 5'5", so she might entertain him. And then probably, I hate saying this, but it happens, she'll cheat on him with the freaking guy that's like 6'5". Because she's like, oh my god, he's so tall. And like, my partner is not. I can suck his dick without having to kneel down. Like, it's so weird. I don't know why everyone's caught up in that one thing. And they're the first people to cry, toxic! Oh my god, these guys are so toxic! Really? Really? You're telling guys that they're toxic when the only reason why you're choosing someone is based on their visual height representation and nothing else about them. Nothing else. That's the one thing you need. Just automatically, he needs to look good and he's tall. And he's in. Doesn't matter how many red flags he's got, long as he's over 6'3", right?
Your short stature will determine your entire dating life. And you're fucked. Done. Over. And I'm here to tell you that that's bullshit. Yeah, sure, it might be harder, but it's still very possible. And if you play your cards right, it's actually pretty easy. If you're watching this, you're probably like me. You grew up insecure about your height, and you let it hold you back from many things as a kid. We grew up idolizing the short guys that made it happen. Like Steph Curry in the NBA, right?
I have no idea who Steph Curry is, but I guess he's about to tell us.
A little dude cooking up all the big guys with only skill, right? And then you realize, wait, he's 6'3". All the other guys are just like 6'10".
Can you imagine being in a room full of people and then making fun of you for being short when you're 6'3"? That's crazy. I'm not saying the other players did that, but I can imagine, like, to everybody else, he's super tall. He's 6'3". And then he goes into the freaking locker room with his basketball buddies, and they're all looking at him like, how's the weather down there? Or how's the sewage down there? I don't know. What's the terminology for short people when they're down? You know what I mean? But that must be so crazy. Like, you're living 2 lives. You're living as a freaking god among men when you're walking in society at 6'3", but then when you're actually among other gods, you're basically like immortal to them.
And I'm 5'3". Then you see all your friends getting taller and taller going through school. And then you're just waiting and waiting for that growth spurt to hit. And it just never quite comes.
It's not funny. It's the way he said it. It's not funny. It's just like the delivery of it was just freaking cracking up, because I can imagine the panic. Like, I kind of felt that. I didn't know that, because I used to want to be tall. I thought that girls that were tall were attractive. Like, most of my friends or people I was around were like 5'5", 5'6", and here's me, and I'm it's bad enough that I was already made fun of and stuff, but then on top of that, I'm shorter than everybody, most of the other girls, and it's like, dude, I'm not getting taller. Oh no. So I thought something was wrong with me, you know, and yeah, it was annoying. It was annoying watching, especially because I hung out mostly with guys, people who I was like the same height or they weren't that much taller than me. They're just expanding vertically, and now I'm like breaking my neck to look up at them, and they're resting their elbow on my head, you know, the thing that people always do to make fun of short people. And I'm thinking to myself, man, it would be nice. It would be nice if I could see over my car, like just certain things, you know, but I've come to accept that, you know, my height is what it is. I used to try and do things to get taller. I used to do this stupid exercise where I would jump and then hang from the freaking pull-up bar thing, and thinking that if I just stretch longer, then I'm gonna be longer. That's not how it works.
And then to compensate for that lack of height, there's only one option. You know what it is. You know, bro.
Your dick size?
The gym, right?
Oh, yeah.
And now we're here, aren't we? We're really all living the same lives. So yeah, it's pretty common knowledge that if you're shorter, it's gonna be harder to get girls, right? And of course, that's true to an extent. And see, that right there is the first step. Just acknowledging that it's gonna be a little harder, bro. And the next step, and the most important step, is coping.
Why is he editing the video like this. It's making me seem like I'm laughing at him. It's not. It's the ways. Why are you doing that? Stop. God. Jesus Christ. But anyway, like, he's right though, like, talking to other men and seeing women on social media and the way that they just derogatorily describe men of shorter stature or average height, just average height. Average height is now short. It's just so disheartening because you could be a great guy and they don't care about that. If you don't have this one thing, you have 99% of everything you need to have to be a green flag. But this one thing, ooh, you're 5'8", I'm gonna take the guy over there with 99% of red flags and 1% of being 6'9", because Navi people are now in. Dude, you have to carry their children. Like, what do you... Like, I've dated guys. Like, most of my boyfriends, guys I've been with, have been very tall. Like, I've dated guys my height. I've dated guys a little shorter, sort of. But that was for a very short time. No pun intended, I swear to God. And I've dated dudes that were almost 7 feet. And there is something nice about having someone flip you over their shoulder. And they're like horses. I love horses. Not like that. I'm not freaking Vouch. You know what I mean. But I do like that. Ooh, this is like freaking superhero. But then when you actually are with someone, regardless of their height, I like looking up at them. And I can look up at a dude who's 5'7", 5'6". I love them. I love them. I like the height. When you're with someone you actually like them, the height is the last thing on your mind. I'm telling you. And the thing is, when you admire that person and respect them, they look tall to you anyway. It's the weirdest thing. My husband, like, when I'm looking up at him, and I can look up at him, I just feel like, oh my God, he's so freaking hot. Like, to me, he's like a giant because, he's bigger than me anyway, but I feel safe with him. I respect him. And people who you respect are always going to look bigger in your eyes. But when you don't respect someone, they're going to look smaller to you, or that's the only thing you're going to fixate on. That means you're only with that person for superficial reasons or for society's acceptance and validation. Like I said, that's fine. But then women don't get mad when guys are like, you look busted. I don't like being with women like you. Or you're too chunky for me. You weigh 160 pounds. You're overweight, bro. I'm not about that life. And then you get offended. Your thing should be, all right, fair enough. I understand you have a preference. The preference is something that can be altered, by the way. Their height cannot, without seriously injuring themselves, or spending a lot of money and then still being at a disadvantage, because I think when you do that legs lengthening surgery, your legs like become toothpicks or something, so that if something happens where you would have the strength there with those bones. I just keep hearing the skeleton Minecraft sound effect when they hit their shin and they're like, shit, now I gotta go back to the doctor. It's not funny. I'm sorry. But it just sucks for a guy who's short, because if he has to do that surgery, he has to go to intense pain. The recovery is very long. And for a woman, if a guy is not into her because she's heavy, all she has to do is go on a diet and exercise, or just mainly diet, because exercise is to get yourself stronger. Like muscle tone, I need muscle tone very badly. But anybody can lose weight, period. Like, it takes more work to get muscle tone, but you can lose weight. It's something you can change. If you're fat and you're like, damn, I fucked up, and I let myself go, you can always get yourself back. For someone who is short, they can't do that. You know what I mean? They can't just... It's not a life choice that they made. It's just something that happened.
With the fact that you're short, and there is absolutely not a thing in the world you can do about it. Except for that weird fucking surgery, right? But
I told you.
Once you cope and come to terms with it for real, you can do anything, bro. Look at me. I'm a manlet, midget, whatever you want to call it. Yeah? And I'm proud of it. Why would I trip over some shit I can't even control? And a majorly overlooked factor on why girls don't like short guys isn't necessarily because of the fact that they're just short, but all the other factors that come along with that. Like being so insecure, awkward, weird with girls. Because short guys grew up afraid to talk to girls because they figured they just had no shot the entire time.
That's not totally true. That's not totally true. Unless you're, like, really rich. I've seen women who or get approached by guys that are shorter. They have confidence. They're not insecure, and the women are just like. But you know, I as a woman, I can tell looking at their facial reactions that they're entertaining this guy because he's got that. He's won the category of being funny and charismatic. But she's like, no, you're beneath me, like literally. And then the freaking guy that's 6'6" and is socially awkward, and he's at least good looking, and he's not really particularly interested in her, and doesn't even know what to do with himself. She's looking at him with these batty eyes, like, oh my god, look at how I'm fluttering my eyelash extensions, double X wide edition, because you're tall. Weird.
That was me growing up. That was literally me.
If you're taught you can't do anything, you won't do anything. I was taught I could do everything.
Do you know how long it took me to grow out of that? But when I did, that's when I finally started getting girls. Don't believe me? Look at Kai Cenat.
Bro's got them anime eyes, dear Jesus. That dada look.
The father of Riz. He's like 5'6", with Tim's on. And he's still able to pull because why? I mean, don't get me wrong, his Riz is immaculate. But he also doesn't give a fuck about the fact that he's short. He embraces it. He's able to joke about it. Look at this clip here.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Hey, alright, so I ain't gonna lie. I had a lot of girls.
I'm sorry, why are his eyes so sparkly? Like, he is, like, anime incarnate. I've never, like, it's very rare that you see people walking embodiments of actual anime characters. His eyes look like them freaking VTuber anime eyes.
Oh, but I know what's coming. They only like him because he's a YouTuber and he's funny and he's rich. Okay, and he only likes them because they're bad? So who's really more shallow then? And these internet dudes will pull out some weird Tinder study that's like 90%
of women don't like men under 6 foot.
Like, bro, that is a study over the internet. Do you understand how it'll be different in real life? Yes, of course, if you ask a girl over the internet, she'll tell you she prefers a guy over 6 foot. Yeah, we know that. That's nothing new. But bro, like, I promise you, if you meet most girls that say that in real life, not on Tinder, not over the internet, but in real life, and you're around the same height as them, and you go up to them, spin some game, making her laugh, bro, she's gonna forget about that height shit real fast.
That's true, to a degree. It is, if this woman is not totally superficial and only cares about optics. Then again, just like men, I think there are certain women that would be okay to mess around with certain people, but then dating them long term. She has to be ultimately attracted to you. So yes, your physicality comes into play first, and your shape of your the lovemaking has to work for her to stay around, because it would be so embarrassing if people are like, oh my god, you're so hot, and then you go to the bedroom and you suck in the bedroom. Or she finds out that you don't have a penis. Like that, I think those are game-breaking situations that you have to account for. So you need to really be great at what you can be great at. I think, why am I talking like that? Some people just, they don't want to talk about certain things, but I've learned to accept the reality of the world. And other people need to accept the reality. Like this guy said, unfortunately, men of a certain stature, I know a lot of my friends that are that way, they do have a harder time. Even the ones that are confident and good men, they still have a harder time because of optics. I think there's also certain privilege based on the height. If you're a guy and you're 4'9" versus a guy who's 5'5", obviously the 5'5" guy is going to have an easier time than the one who's under 5 feet. It just is what it is. Girls can laugh and try to be nice without having any intention on dating you. I do think that it's important to weed out all the bad stuff, because here's the thing. While you might have less options as a shorter guy, whenever you do have a woman that actually is into you for you, you'll know that you have a real one. You know, but vet these people. Seriously, vet these people. Because I know also a lot of friends who fall into a certain category aesthetically, and they got with women, and these women cheated on them. Like, they were with them for stability because they were like, I don't want to party anymore. I want a guy who's going to stick around. And so they chose people that wasn't their first choice, and they stick around with them, have kids with them, and then they step out on the guy. Get the freaking Navi guy outside while staying married to someone who's going to take care of them, which is fucked. I'm so glad I wasn't born a guy, because that would make me paranoid. Like, I wouldn't want to date anybody. Let's say even if you're tall, right? You got that working for you. Now you have to worry about whether or not the woman is with you for you, or she's just with you for your looks. And while that's not a bad thing, guys care less about that because they want to pull women. These women will leave you so quick. If she's only with you superficially because you were able to draw her because of your looks, it's going to be that much easier for her to be hypergamous towards a guy who is taller than you or looks better than you. It just is what it is. You got to make her respect you on top of the looks. You had easy mode, you pulled her, now you got to keep her. And that's a lot of work. Why do you want to work so hard for someone who's not willing to put that work in either? The only reason the world's so complicated is because people are so freaking selfish.
But you know what the funny part is? Think of video games. Do you actually play on the easiest difficulty? No, nobody fucking does that. And if you do, you're weird. You're a loser. It's corny, boring, it's too easy. We like playing on the harder difficulty because we embrace the challenge. It's fun. That's just like getting girls as a short guy, bro. Embrace that challenge.
No shade to this guy, I like him, but that sounds like something that you say to short people to make them feel better about themselves. And the truth is, it shouldn't be a challenge for you to get women. It is more challenging, but I think the reason why it's also more challenging for people who fall into certain categories, and stay with me here, this is going to sound awful. This goes for the women too. You're not shooting your shot within your league. It sounds messed up. It really sounds messed up. But the same thing goes for women who are in a certain category when it comes to aesthetics or social stature or what have you. And they will want a guy that is far outside their league, and then get upset when people tell them to be realistic and choose someone on their level.
This person says, just to be clear, you can call men broke, but they can't call you fat. I am fat. I am self-subscribed fat, and guess what? I still make money. Nike pays my bills. I still go out with high-value, high-earning men, and my being fat has not stopped me from any of that, period.
I'm fat and I date high value men. A guy could have money and like not want to spend a dime on you and be super stingy, which that is literally my pet peeve. Like, I cannot deal with a stingy man. I don't care how much you make. Like, if you're like nickel and diming me as your woman, we are not meant to be. Like, I already vetted him for the other stuff. Like, I vetted if he was kind, if he was honest, if he was a good person, if he had similar values to me. Hello, that's like part of it. I guess people just thought, oh, money hungry fat women. Like,
women are the first one to be like, yo, bro, get on your level. But you don't do that when it comes to the men that you want. Then you wonder why people are taking advantage of you. Shoot your shot within someone who's in your level. You know what happened when I got guys that were in my league or a little over my league? And I'm talking about like popular guys that were like super, super hot. Like, I'm not a Victoria's Secret model. Far from it. But these dudes that were with me who were in that category, they were unfaithful. There was so much more competition because they saw that guy with me and they're like, you know what? No. It's like seeing him go steady with somebody made them even more angry, and these women would try to steal him from you. And it wouldn't be hard because he had a lot of options. There's so many other pretty girls out there. Why would he just stay with me? And that's, I know, it sounds like a toxic mindset, but people who have those looks, not saying everybody does that, but the majority of them know that they have those options. They're going to develop this narcissistic mindset where I don't gotta just choose one though. Like, I have a cheat code, bro. I'm freaking hot. Like, hotter than is normal. And I specifically stayed away from those men because I knew the type of men that they were. Not to sound rude, but I chose someone who didn't have that. Like the nerdy guys, and I still consider them to be hot. Are they freaking Calvin Klein, Leonardo DiCaprio when he was younger? No. But guess what? They don't have a bunch of women soiling themselves, and I'm not constantly trying to compete with other women. I don't like competing with other women. I don't do that. You want him, you can take him. But I do understand that there are categories to this. There's this average people who are just nerdy and socially awkward or whatever. And then there's the super Victoria's Secret mean girl models who are into fashion, everything, who are like the top 10% with makeup. And then those people who have like the perfect ass, the perfect tit ratio and everything. And their daddies were Nepo babies and now they're Nepo babies and they don't have to work a day in their life because their parents gave them. Like, there is a stature. There's a social stature stature, there's a category for everything. And if you are one of those people who are average shooting for people like that, you are shooting outside your league. You don't fit. So people are not going to take you seriously. It's just how humanity works. The rest of the animal kingdom is like that as well. And I talk to a lot of these guys and women as well that when you tell them this, they get really offended. If you're talking to a guy and the guy is, I'm sorry, he's not societally beautiful. He looks like an orc and he could make himself look better. You're like, dude, lose some weight. Like, you're freaking 200 pounds. Like, go after women who either look like you, but they are like mortified by like, I don't want no fat bitch. Bro, you're 200 pounds, bro. You're 200 pounds trying to go after women who are size 0 and who are trust fund babies. When you're a pizza delivery guy that weighs 200 pounds. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? So I feel like people need to also temper their expectations. That's why most people are unhappy. And I've talked to so many of these guys and women, and they're all shooting above what fits them. I'm trying to say this in a nice way possible, but that's why you're unhappy. If you don't want to date someone on your level, if you're looking at someone that basically is just exactly like you, and you're like, oh, I don't want to date that. Why do you expect anybody above your level to date you then? Like, you know how many fat girls I've talked to and they're like, I don't want to date a fat dude. Bro, you're fat. So why are you expecting a thin dude to date you when he's not into fat girls, but yet you as a fat girl don't want to date a fat dude? Like, that's just peak hypocrisy to me. And people get angry at me when I say shit like that. Like, it has nothing to do with fat phobia. It's just, yeah, okay, you're fat. If you're choosing to stay that way, that's fine. But just understand, for society standards, it's not a beauty standard thing in a social construct. It's humanity. People are going to naturally be attracted to what they find as healthy or beautiful. That's how beauty standards became a thing, because it was based on our biological preferences as the human race. Go across the entire world in every country, and there is a standard to a way a woman looks. And I'm sorry, but the majority of the standard are not women that weigh 300 pounds. People are gonna get so upset at me, and I don't give a fuck, because as a woman who likes people telling the truth, I would want to know the truth. I don't want you to tell me something to make me feel better. Like, a whole bunch of women and men like people talking in their ear, you're a king, even though you're this, and not be real with them. And then they're wondering, why is my life not any different? Why doesn't anyone love me? Why am I not having any luck? That's not love. That's not someone who really cares about you. Someone's gonna lie to your face and pretend to be your friend and make you feel good in the moment, but that good advice, quote unquote, doesn't help you because it's the wrong advice. You're not being honest. So, in conclusion, you can go check out this guy's video. I linked it there, and I see what he's saying, and he's right with a lot of things, but I think the most important thing that he didn't mention is to shoot within your lane. Shoot within your lane. If you know that you are at a certain level in society when it comes to aesthetics, there's nothing wrong with being attracted to people above that, but just understand that you're probably being a little bit unrealistic if you keep on aiming for those specific type of people that are not within your level, and they keep on looking down at you. Like, I know one of my friends, he only goes after girls that look like Instagram baddies, and these girls want nothing to do with him. Meanwhile, a girl who is pretty but average is into him, and he's like, nah, really? So then you can't get mad when you're constantly rejected because you're shooting outside your lane. Like, let's be real here. Anyways, good luck out there, and vet people. For real, there's some freaking psychos on these dating websites. Also, if you're trying to pull girls on dating websites, what are you doing? Everybody on there's a thought, men and women.